Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSP Magazine Podcast Radio. You're about to listen to an episode of Your Everyday Cyber Podcast with Lemore Kessom and Diana Kelly. We live in a cyberspace almost all the time, but do we know enough about living in it securely? Join this dynamic duo as they take you through an exploration of daily cyber activities and how you can make better choices to make them secure for yourself and your family. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
Welcome to Your Everyday Cyber. I'm Lemore Kessom, a cybersecurity professional and advisor. My co-host is Diana Kelly, a cybersecurity expert who is the CTO and co-founder of Security Curve. We know that cybersecurity is one of the hottest technology fields nowadays. And in this dynamic marketplace, there is a skill shortage that is said to have reached over 3 million vacant positions this year. So obviously we need a lot of new people to join the ranks. But there's something that could be blocking the pipeline here. And one of the most common questions I get from people who want to enter the cybersecurity field is, how can I get experience if I can't get that first job? But every entry-level role can often require 1 to 3 years of experience. So that kind of keeps less people being able to enter. Diana, are you seeing the same thing?
I sure am, Lemore. I mean, and it's classic chicken or the egg, right? I mean, they want it's entry level, so that implies you're just getting started. It's your first job, and yet they're asking for up to 3 years of experience. Well, how are you going to do that if you haven't had your first job? And it can be really frustrating. I work with a lot of students and people that have reskilled later in their careers, even in their 40s and 50s. And that's one of their big problems is they say, how can I gain experience? And, there are internships. Not everybody can get those, or you can contribute to open source projects. You can participate in bug bounties. But another really great way to get experience and to build your network are through competitions and capture the flag activities. Have you heard about these, Lemore?
I sure have. CTFs, that's the acronym, are events that consist of a series of challenges that vary in their degree of difficulty and also their technical depth. So they require participants to exercise different skill sets to solve them. So think about kind of like escape rooms, when you go in together and each one of you has a different type of, thinking. And once an individual challenge is solved, then they get a flag. The team gets a flag or the player gets a flag. They submit it to the CTF server and earn points. You can work those CTFs as a lone wolf, or you can team up with other people, which each can bring a diverse skill into to the table. The events are timed, and the first team to finish the challenge wins. So this is a classic CTF. I agree that it's a great way to build your technical skills and also to network with other people and connect with them, know more people from the industry, because everybody comes to these. They're so much fun. Yeah. Another great thing to think about is that CTFs are open to many ages and skill levels. So we are really lucky today to have Akshay Rohatgi on the show. He's one of the leaders of a winning high school CTF team. He's with us today to break down what those competitions are about and how you can get involved. I have to say a few words about Akshay since he's a truly special guest on the show. He is a high school student with a passion for offensive and defensive security, 4-time Cyber Patriot National Finalist, Middle School Division National Champion in 2019, and Open Division National Champion this year. Akshay often competes in the Capture the Flag competitions, and he is also a 2021 National Cyber Scholarship Competition finalist. So he's really awesome.
Crazy.
And Akshay, I know. Thank you and welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me on.
Great. You are a busy man. How do you have time to engage on all those awesome things that you're passionate about?
If I'm being honest, I'm not really sure. I just make time somehow, and that means homework can wait a couple of hours. I'll have random bursts of motivation throughout the day or random ideas. Like, for example, just I think a month ago, I was kind of sitting, it was like 9 p.m. I was doing math homework. I'm like, I there's probably a way to like systematically, run phishing attacks. So like for the next 2 hours, I set up like small mail server and used some online tool I found to run a phishing attack on it. I mean, I ended up finishing my homework at like 1 a.m. that day, but that's okay.
I hear that. I get, that's sort of how I got started, is just this is way, way back in the 1970s, but you get just so excited about what you're doing and what you're working on. And I still have a little bit of that. I was fighting with one of my instances on EC2 last night, and I was up a lot later than I expected. So it's a lifelong passion. I think you just get the energy when you're doing what you love. But how did you know that you loved this, Akshay? How did you first get interested in cybersecurity? And then how did you find Cyber Patriot and get involved in CTFs? What's the progress there?
Okay, well, my very first memory of cybersecurity is, I think maybe it was 4th or 5th grade, but I just gotten like a laptop. I was going to be using it for a small robotics team I was in, and I realized that you could Google movies and watch them for free, apparently. And it was so cool. It was great. And I was just kind of sitting there watching like the Transformer movies in 4th grade. But I was watching them and like some sketchy website. And, I was saying, the internet is so great. It's so amazing. I love this thing. And like a few weeks in, I started getting weird ads on my computer. Every time I open up any application, there were ads embedded on it somehow. Like I was opening up settings and there were like random ads on it. And I asked my dad, like, this is kind of sus. Like it shouldn't be happening, right? And I sat down with my dad and we installed an antivirus, or he installed an antivirus, and I watched it. And I watched him, run like scans and eventually be able to remove it. And I think that was my first experience ever with cybersecurity. And then around 6th or 7th grade, my mom told me about this club that was happening in our school called Cyberegis. She said I should just go check it out. So I did. And I went to an interest meeting and it seemed pretty cool. And I got involved in Cyber Patriot through there. And I competed in that for 2 years until 9th grade, where someone told me about a CTF being a cybersecurity competition. And I had been competing in Cyber Patriot for about 2 years at that time, or by that point. And so I thought I'd check it out. And I ended up getting like a total of 3 flags during the entire thing, but I found it pretty fun. And I think that's how everything got started.
That is awesome. So CTFs in themselves can take the format of almost like a Jeopardy or an attack defense type of game. What is the difference between the formats?
Yeah, so there's 5 categories in Jeopardy most of the time, or 5 main categories. They range from binary exploitation, reverse engineering, web exploitation, forensics, and cryptography. All of them, all these categories have different challenges associated with them. For example, your classic web exploitation challenges would be something like SQL injections or XSS attacks. While you might have forensics based on trying to find hidden metadata in a file or checking a recovered disk drive. And then attack defense, CTF, is where each team or each player gets some sort of box, might be a Linux or Windows box, usually Linux, that has some flag on it at the root and then at the user level. And basically the point of the challenge, and the challenge is also, the box is also running a critical service or multiple critical services. And the point of the challenge is to attack other teams' boxes and attack the critical services, exploit them to get remote command execution most of the time, and then usually either to pop a shell or to privilege escalate to get the other player's flags, while also protecting your own at the same time.
Wow, that sounds a little bit complicated. If someone's listening and they haven't ever done one of these before, do they need to do something to prepare? I mean, how much experience do you need to enter a CTF, and what's the best way to prepare?
You can probably start from zero experience. When I started, I knew a little bit of command line. I knew, some basic security concepts, but I didn't really know any conceptual things. I kind of just did. I was, if the term, a script kiddie at the time. Mm-hmm. And I basically knew nothing. But I've competed for in CTFs for maybe 2 or 3 years now, and I found no best way to prepare. I think it's just mainly to keep doing things and learning from write-ups, from challenges you missed, and actually understanding what's happening. And it's also important to understand why and what you're doing things. Like you should probably learn what like DNS requests are and how DNS works before you try and like mess with domains.
Good advice.
That's true. So what does it feel like to be in like the middle of a competition? This is like more tense or like competitive, and how important is it to stay connected also with your teammates while this is all going on?
Yeah, so definitely it depends on the stakes of the competitions. Some competitions, just none of my teammates are really into it, and we're just kind of like there. I mean, we still manage to win sometimes, but that's not the point. And it depends. I remember in last year when we were preparing for the Cyber Patriot semifinals, it was going to be extremely competitive. Only the top two teams would be able to make it in our situation. So we had to like be at the very top of our game, and we had not done too well on the round before. So we were all stressed for about a month. And I remember just like when we came up or we showed up to like the competition site, none of us were really talking. We were just like kind of wondering like what would happen if we lost. And we also had a bunch of issues during the competition. But I think it's just important to trust, being able to trust in your teammates. And sometimes, really, in the end, you end up watching the scoreboard for the last 30 minutes, hoping that just praying that no one gets more flags or no one gets more points anyway.
For sure.
Yeah. So sounds like you've had a lot of really interesting experiences during the different competitions. What's the most unexpected thing that's ever happened to you or to your team during a competition?
Yeah. So again, last year during the Cyber Patriot semifinals, again, this was a time of like heightened stress for us. We're all trying to make nationals every year, and we're like really we spend like over 10 hours every week preparing for that competition.
Wow.
And we were again, this was a semifinal, so this would be what would qualify us for the national finals. In our situation, you need to be the top two in the nation to qualify. The way it was set up for us. And so we're just competing. We're like 2 hours in. We're not even close to the top of the scoreboard. And we plug in like a couple of heaters because this is like around COVID was kind of still happening. We were competing in my garage because there's more space there. And it was also happened to be raining just that day too. Like it was just cold and raining just that day specifically. And it was really cold. So we set up like a bunch of heaters. We already had like everything plugged in, like people's computers, monitors. And we plugged in one more heater and the entire power went out. And we're all just standing there like, oh, wow, this is it. Like we actually screwed up. Like it's over. And we thought like, our virtual machines are gonna get corrupted, and we basically lost the entire competition. And somehow my dad did a thing and like flipped like switches and like crazy, and the power went back up in about 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes felt like an hour.
Oh my God, that is stressful, and you're very lucky that this worked. I'm happy to hear this.
Yeah.
So Akshay, you're also, amongst the many things you do, are Vice President of Linux Security with CyberAegis. So what is CyberAegis, and what do you do as the VP of the Linux Security?
Yeah, so CyberAegis is a group or an organization of students from 3 schools that compete in cybersecurity competitions, and we train each other for cybersecurity competitions. Our main competition is Cyber Patriot, which is a system hardening competition and incident response. As VP of Linux Security, I'm in charge of developing the curriculum and developing, like teaching methods and practice materials, and delegating like the development of them to Linux leads or people who have expertise in Linux and are willing to teach the younger kids. And that's kind of my job, just bring younger kids who just joined the club, usually middle schoolers, bring them up to speed and letting them learn how to get better at Linux system administration, or just learning Linux in general, because obviously that's a skill that everyone should have.
I agree. Linux admin is a good skill for, I think, anybody in security to have. And, it's amazing hearing you speak is that it's clear that the work that you're doing really is experience, as people who've been hiring managers, both Limor and I, this is really experience, what you're talking about. So anybody listening, this is really a good way to get to beat that chicken or egg problem. But Akshay, you've mentioned Cyber Aegis and Cyber Patriot, and Cyber Aegis prepares for Cyber Patriot. What is Cyber Patriot really about? Is this just in the U.S.? Is this going international? And what's the competition path look like?
Yeah, so Cyber Patriot itself is a program to teach students about operating system security. It's a national competition, but they've also set up branches in the UK, Australia, Japan, and they all have similar and Canada, I think, as well. All have similar programs running in them. But the core of it is that during the qualification rounds, there's usually 3 or 4 before the national finals. The qualification rounds give students a small network of 3 to 4 Linux and Windows virtual boxes that you can secure for points. And vulnerabilities, you fix them, give you points. So it can be anything from, just turning on a firewall to fixing misconfigurations on an SMB server. And there's also a Cisco networking component that challenges teams to set up and secure virtual networks and also complete a quiz testing their theoretical knowledge.
So interesting. Go ahead.
While the national finals is raises the temperature by a lot, it gives teams a network of 8 to 9 Linux and Windows boxes, and you have to maintain email servers, web servers, file sharing services, and a lot more, while a red team of trained penetration testers will attack you, which just adds to the stress. And you only get 3 hours, and you have to also secure vulnerabilities for points as well.
This is too cool. I wasn't able to be this cool in high school. I don't think I'm this cool today.
Same.
So, Akshay, do you have any final advice or maybe encouragement to our listeners? Maybe there's something you wish that someone had told you before your first CTF. What can you share with our audience?
The most important thing I've always stressed to people younger than me, people I know, people who are just getting started, is to do your best to figure out why and what and why you're doing. I think I became better at doing what I do because I took the time to understand what was going on. When I first started playing CTFs, that made me better at Cyber Patriot, and being better at Cyber Patriot helped me be better at CTFs. And again, being able to know what you're doing opens up so many things, because you can try things on your own. You can set up services on your own. You can set up, small web servers, or you can test stuff on your own. And I wish someone told me, before my first CTF, is to figure out what an, HTTP GET request was or an HTTP POST request was before I tried to, randomly exploit session cookies with methods from random websites.
For sure. Well, this is great. Actually, thank you so much for helping us explain CTFs to everybody listening. And to our audience, we hope you've been inspired to get involved with a CTF team, or maybe just join a competition and try it out. Thank you for being with us today, as you do every time. And I hope this episode was helpful to you and encouraging. Please follow the podcast and get involved. You can reach out to us on Twitter if you'd like to suggest topics for upcoming episodes. That's at cyber_everyday. We're also on LinkedIn, and you can email us if you wish at youreverydaycyber@securitycurve.com. Our podcast page has more details for you and resources from each episode, including what we talked about today. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and stay safe out there.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Your Everyday Cyber Podcast with Limor and Diana. If you learned something new and this conversation made you think, then share itspmagazine.com with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.